Download of information, hundreds of documents spanning the entire investigation that began 5 long weeks ago. Police only gave out a couple of hard copies of this evidence. So we've been working off published reports tonight. The volume of information, absolutely staggering. More than 550 pages. 550 pages of police reports. The docs reveal this investigation has already cost over $1 million, mobilizing hundreds of officers from various agencies. Now, this comes hot on the heels of the 911 call, which kicked off the frantic search.
Okay, now you looked everywhere under the bed, the closet, everything? Okay. We're almost there, ma'am, okay? Where's your husband and your kids?
They're outside waiting for the car.
Okay.
My God.
Isabel's mother clearly hysterical from all the new evidence. This may be the key item. Photos of the Middle East bedroom in the Celis home include, quote, views of apparent blood on the floor, end quote. That is Isabel's bedroom, the one she was sleeping in when she apparently vanished. So whose blood was found? When was it left there? The evidence also states DNA samples were taken from Isabel's parents and brothers. Their mouths swabbed and blood collected from Isabel's parents, mom and dad. Straight out to Claire Dewan, reporter for K-Gun on the ground in Tucson, Arizona. Claire, you've been poring over these documents. What's the most startling evidence that's popping out at you tonight?
You know, you mentioned it, Jane. It is that blood that was found on pictures, apparent blood that they captured at that Middle East bedroom. But also, there wasn't just blood in the bedroom. There was also what they consider red or brown stains found on items in the car near the Celis home, white hat, vinyl shower curtain that had stains on them, and that is what police collected as well for evidence. They found footprints as well around the home, boot prints near the small electrical box, also feet away as well, footprints as well that could be consistent. So a lot of evidence found at the home that police have detailed in some of those records that were released today.
I just want to clarify, you said something about blood and a car? Is that what you said?
Blood from a white hat, possible blood because it has red, brown, or brown stains from a white hat, as well as from a vinyl shower curtain that police did get from inside the car that they took to their compounds to analyze for evidence.
Is that the Celis' car?
Yes. From what we know of those documents,
wow.
Yes.
Wow. Well, you know,
very startling
people
information.
Have been wondering about, stand by because we're going to come back to you, but people have been wondering about Isabel's father ever since hearing this 911 call. Listen to this.
Is mom there also?
Yeah, she had just left for work. I just called her and I told her to get her back home.
All right. The dad is apparently heard chuckling. You listen very carefully as he reports his daughter missing. His tone has raised eyebrows, and now the Just Police reports reveal that a police officer was approached by somebody who claimed to be a friend of Isabel's father, and that friend told cops, quote, something didn't seem right about what was going on and alluded that he believed the father was in some way involved. Now, I want to stress that nobody has been named a suspect, nobody's been eliminated, but nobody's been named. This person could be some kind of busybody, somebody with a grudge, a total crackpot, somebody playing detective who has no evidence. But you got to wonder about this comment. So I want to go out to David Pike. We have an exclusive interview with Isabel's neighbor, David Pike. David, I understand that your boys played with Isabel's brothers. Is that true, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
Yeah, they early on a couple years ago, after they'd moved in, their younger boys and Serge Jr. Were into BMX bicycles, so they kind of came over and visited with my boys, who were also into BMXs, and my older son, who's now 18, talked to him about bicycles and went down to their house and visited with Serge Sr., and because he also rides bicycles.
Speaking of Serge Sr., what do you make of him? There's a lot of, obviously, the police focus on who's there first. They focus on the family first. What would you like to say about the father of missing Isabel Celis?
In passing and seeing him walking back and forth to his mother and father's house, which would be Grandma and Grandpa, who we've known for 16 years, and everything seemed, and apparently, the kids seemed like they were doing well prior to this incident taking place. Seen him walking up and down the street with Isabel to Grandma and Grandpa's house, riding on Dad's shoulders. Typical,
So, David, did he seem like a good dad? Did he seem in any way, shape, or form creepy, or just like a good dad who was nothing to see here?
No, not to us. We're we're 5 houses down from them on the same side of the street, and we've been here for 16 years, and they moved in about 4 years ago.
Let me jump in and ask you, I just want to get a sense, because I'm not sure what you're saying. Would you trust your kids with Isabel's dad?
I have trusted him down there.
So how would you like to characterize him? What would you say if you were asked about him?
He seemed like a nice person to me whenever I stopped by and visited him, going in and out of the neighborhood when he was out there with the boys or doing, things in his garage, working on bicycles or whatever he was doing. I didn't see a whole lot of Mom because she worked all the time.
Well, that's interesting, and I think it's really important to get a balanced perspective on this. The Celis family started out quiet, but they've since opened up, and they've talked to the media a lot. Isabel's mom has defended her husband after he was told to have no contact with his 2 young sons. Listen to this.
My husband's a great father. My husband loves those boys, loves my daughter, is a great husband, a great father to the boys and to Isabel. And at the end of the day, when Isabel comes home, everybody's questions will be answered.
But here's another disturbing new piece of evidence. ABC News is reporting that one person interviewed during the investigation said that, quote, a guy who was staying with the family owed someone a lot of money, and that's why she was taken. Extraordinary. Tanya Acker, attorney, your reaction.
Well, I think that one of the things that's so striking about this case is that there's all of this loose evidence, and this is particularly important. Who is this guy? Who is the person who gave the police information about his alleged debt that he owed? Who did he owe the money to? There's so many questions here. We're still early in the investigation, but the longer that we go on with this, the harder it becomes to get really firm answers. I think that's important that investigators pin this down as quickly as possible.
Is there a mystery person who owed the Celis family money? And if so, why are we just hearing about it now? More on the other side.
7 and I didn't even check on her. I should have checked on her.
Okay. All right, just take a deep breath, okay? She doesn't have any medical condition?
No, she has nothing.
I'm sorry, she has what?
She has nothing. There's no medical condition. She's healthy. No allergies, no medical conditions.
Okay, you
She's
didn't
got
hear
brown
any
hair.
at all?
No, I didn't hear anything at all.
550 pages of new documents released of the disappearance of Isabel Celis. The headline, blood, apparent blood found on the floor of her bedroom. Forensic psychologist Brian Russell, isn't though there an innocent explanation given that young Isabel lived in the house?
Well, you're right, Jane. You could find blood in many homes in small quantities and predictable places like the sink where people shave, for example. And so it's all about the quantity and the location. And I think the bigger bombshell tonight is the assertion that there may be a new player involved in this case that we're just now hearing about.
Yes, this apparent man who somebody mentions in these reports that allegedly, purportedly owes the Celis family money and may have been staying with him. And why are we just hearing about that now? Now, some of the evidence lines up very carefully with the 911 calls. Listen to Isabel's father and how he called in the disappearance of his daughter.
Police Department.
Hello, I need to report a missing child. I believe she was abducted from my house.
Okay, how old?
6 years old.
Okay, is it your daughter?
Yes.
Why do you think she was abducted?
I have no idea. We woke up this morning. I went to go get her up for her baseball game, and she's gone.
Claire Duan, K-Gun reporter, the Arizona Daily Star, now reporting that in one of these reports, a man says he flagged down a police officer and told the cop he had seen a little girl who appeared to be 6 or 7 years old running down North Columbus Boulevard late at night. How close is this boulevard to where the Celis family is? And is this a credible report?
You know, it is relatively close. It takes minutes to get from the house to Columbus Boulevard. But police at this point are telling us they are checking every lead, no matter how ridiculous it is, no matter what. They are following up on it. But what was really interesting in the reports, Jane, is that there was a man who also flagged police down and said that he actually knew the father, Sergio Celis, really well, alluded to the fact that there was something going on. There's something strange there going on with the father, and he believed the father had some kind of involvement in his daughter's disappearance, and he wanted to talk to detectives further about the information he had, and that was very interesting in some of the documents that we received today.
Yeah, and the other big headline, David Pike, you are Isabel's neighbor. Your boys play with Isabel's brothers. This report that there was some guy staying, purportedly, allegedly, with the Celis family who owed them a lot of money. Have you ever heard anything about this claim before just now, David?
No, Jane. We knew that, I believe, Becky's brother was staying with the family for a while, a year or so ago, and the boys had alluded that it was their uncle or a cousin.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, he was staying with them, but I think it was like maybe 6 or 8 months. I'm not sure how long he stayed with them, but yeah, he was living there.
Tanya Acker, attorney, you're here on set with me in L.A. You've covered so many of these kinds of cases. Should the police have let us know about this mystery figure beforehand?
I think that the police should, at the very least, before they let us know, they should have taken his statement. They should have found out who he was. I mean, you know, it's one thing simply to have these reports, to have these allegations, to have these third-party witness statements. But, you know, if there is a person who was in that house, the police, hopefully by this time, know who he is, have taken his statement, even if they're not releasing that evidence to the public.
Yeah, but when you hear these parents pleading for information, either the police are telling them, don't reveal that somebody was staying there, allegedly, purportedly, don't reveal that somebody owed you money, or they're holding it back intentionally, or it just didn't happen and it's a false report. Either way, it's a confusing case. Police are working around the clock to find this precious child. We certainly hope they do.